Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Singer Studio podcast. If you missed our first episode, Standing Out at Auditions, I'm sure we'll have that linked down below in the description box or up above in the cards if you do want to check that out. Today I want to do something a little bit rogue. I know, episode 2, we're already going off the routine. And I want to sit down and just talk to you guys about why. Why access to the arts is important, why it matters, and why we even founded the YouTube channel this podcast is originated from, K Music Studios. Now, long story short, K Music Studios is a passion project I wish I had started 10 years ago. To make a long story short, I finished college and got right into cruise ship singing. I was traveling the world for 6 to 8 months at a time. I was meeting new people, and of course, I was improving my skills as a performer because it was part of my job. And then at some point in there, I decided to move to land. I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and started basically the adult chapter of my life. Because on cruise ships, I wasn't responsible for things like rent, utilities, healthcare, having a car, insuring a car. Truly, everything was provided for me at that time. So I essentially was starting completely over in a city I had not lived in for 10 years. To say it was an adjustment is an absolute understatement, but again, we will get into that in an entirely separate video. One of my first survival jobs was actually working at a music studio. I would teach students all over the city. I got a chance to perform myself, and it was a nice way to just get involved in the art scene of Columbus, Ohio. Along the way, I started dabbling in YouTube videos. I made a few different channels, explored a few different niches along the way, and one of the things that stuck out to me was making videos about voice lessons, warm-ups for singers, beginning lessons, intermediate, advanced, scales, how to improve your high notes, your low notes. There was an entire library that interested me. And to my surprise, I made about 8 different vocal warm-up videos, some for sopranos, altos, tenors, basses, classical singers, musical theater singers, pop, rock, jazz, a little bit of everything. And while I did not stay in that niche for very long, I did notice that by keeping those videos up, they always continued to get views. On one of my main YouTube channels, it is a channel that is primarily about online teachers, vlogging, tutorials, people kind of navigating the online education space. I kept up those original videos about voice lessons, even though they have nothing to do with the topic the channel is serving now. One of those videos by itself has 250,000 views and continues to get over 80 views a day. Previous Kristen, if I could go back in time and have a quick chat with you, I would have told you right then and there to make a YouTube channel and strictly focus on vocal warm-ups. Serve your community, continue on. I look at other YouTube channels that did just that. They've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They bring in millions of views every single month. And strictly speaking from money, they're making a lot of it. And they're making it all, well, majority of it is coming from passive income because it's videos and content they had made before that is still bringing them in views, which if those videos have ads on them, those views are earning them money. So that was back in 2015, 2016. So we are well past that time in life. We have done many more things. We've created more YouTube channels. I have gotten engaged, gotten married. My husband and I just bought a house in the last year. We went through a whole freaking pandemic. And then just last year, I was working with some of my online students. I teach a couple classes about YouTube. It really teaches young students how to create a channel, the ins and outs of YouTube on a realistic basis. And one day, one of those students turned to me and said, "Miss Kristen, can we watch you start a YouTube channel from the ground up?" And I had never had someone ask me that before. Normally, people that teach YouTube classes show off their big fancy channels and only their big best videos that bring in all the views. So I thought, what a great way to show my learners that I walk the walk that I tell them to do every single week. So in February of 2022, I granted that student their request and I made a brand new channel. And I sat and thought about what should this channel be about? And after a few days of just contemplation, I said, you know what? let's finally make that singing channel. Let's sit down and we'll make it. And I really thought about my intention. Yes, I had gone on YouTube and I looked at other creators that were doing the same thing I was about to do. And yes, I looked at the ones that have millions of subscribers and they were raking in a lot of money. And I thought, you know what? Let's make this a little different. What is our intention? And I decided right then and there on day one that my intention was going to be providing arts access to students and families who could not ever afford voice lessons. Today's podcast is brought to you by Skillshare. Whether you're looking to enhance your singing skills, improve your stage presence, or simply learn a new skill outside of music, Skillshare has the courses you need to take your creativity to the next level. Listeners of the podcast can get a free trial to all Skillshare has to offer by clicking the link down below. Skillshare is where I learned everything from graphic design, video editing, and of course, podcasting. Check out the thousands of classes available down below and learn something new today. Now, back to the podcast. If the pandemic has taught me anything, it has opened my eyes to the way people live outside of my little Columbus, Ohio bubble. Now, yes, I always knew that there were other people out there that live different ways than me, but getting into the world of online teaching and being stuck in quarantine, I really got a chance to meet other people, see what their life was like. And a lot of students would let me know that they would kill to learn how to play various instruments, or they would love to have voice lessons, or how their dream is to audition for the school play or the school musical, but there's no way they could adequately prepare for that, and they're just going to give that dream up right then and there. It was at that moment I decided that K Music Studios, my new YouTube channel, my new baby, was going to be dedicated to them. Every single video I made would have the intention of providing just a little bit more arts access. It was going to open the doors to people who, if all they had was a library card and access to the internet, they could go on YouTube and they can find this channel. If they're a New York performer or a city-based performer living with multiple roommates and they can barely afford rent, they now have a resource to warm up their voices before auditions or performances or rehearsals. And I took that with me along the way. I have since then made over 160 pieces of content. This channel is now sitting at 1,160 subscribers. We have just gained the access to put ads on the video, start some income streams, and what you're hearing right now is an extension of K Music Studios. The singers that go on to that channel for vocal warm-ups could very well tune into these podcasts if they just want a little bit something different that's still in the realm of vocal care, improving as a singer, whatever it may be. I remember uploading my first 10 videos on K Music Studios. I kept a little notebook, a little journal, kind of documenting the way because I was so excited. I couldn't sleep at night. I was contemplating titles of videos, thumbnails, which are those little tiny pictures that you see before you click on the video. I was taking everything I had learned before 2022 and putting it together. I went to college for music. I got performance experience on cruise ships and being in musicals. I had learned being on YouTube for 6 years, the best ways to grow a channel. And now I was putting all of them together. In a way, I kind of put my entire identity into this, and I told very few people. But now looking back, I don't think I would have it any other way. I had taken all these skills I had developed over time, merged them together, and I kept it internally mine. I didn't tell other people. I didn't ask for their advice or their opinions. I just grew it the way I wanted to grow it. And always keeping in mind the intention of providing arts access to more people. And shout out to those people who leave me comments on the YouTube videos and they write me online and say, thank you so much for this. I can now give my child voice lessons. We tune in every Monday. Or when are you going to have a membership? I can't afford a voice teacher, but maybe I can help you out here. I even get people who send something called a super chat, which is basically a way for you to send money to a creator because you liked their videos. Think of it like tipping at a restaurant, but you're tipping a YouTube creator. I get people that will leave me little super chats and say, thank you so much. I listened to your warm-ups on the bus on the way to my first big audition or my first rehearsal having booked the audition. And those to me matter more than the subscribers and the income. Because if I'm being really honest, you guys, the income is like $1 a day right now, but we're getting started. It's going to be okay. In the future, I would love to onboard a team. I would love to have somebody run this podcast or produce this podcast for me. And if you're my future podcast producer listening to this, I hope you come into my life sooner than later, because I'm a one-woman show over here doing a lot of different things. But I would love to take the income that K Music Studios and potentially this podcast brings and grow to provide even more arts access to more people. And I feel like it's going to do well strictly because my intention is not solely based around me. Would I love to have this be my full-time job someday? Absolutely. But if I could only pick one achievement, it would be to continue providing access. That's literally my mission statement. I want to continue building a library. At the end of the day, I want to say, hey, K Music Studios has over 1,000 pieces of content helping out all singers. If it's a child who maybe heard a Disney movie for the first time and wants to take a voice lesson, there's a video for that. If there's a trained opera singer that wants to strengthen their high notes or work on their projection, there's a video for that. If there's a musical theater singer that wants to get into the pop realm and work on their riffs and their runs, there's a video for that. I'm hoping to continue to grow this channel in a way that it continues to serve people and grow a community that just wants to be better. What I don't want for this community is for it to be bought out. I don't want it to be a big commercial for something, which in the future, I understand that I will probably have to do sponsorships. There's a sponsorship on this podcast, but the money from that sponsorship is going to continue growing the YouTube channel itself. So that is where we founded K Music Studios and why I truly believe that arts access matters. It shouldn't depend on your community, your upbringing, your financial status, your social status. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't, because it absolutely does. But hopefully in creating this YouTube channel, we kind of bring that barrier down just a little bit. We level the field just a little bit. If somebody before didn't have access to vocal training, they have it now. And they don't need to have a computer at home. They don't need a phone or a tablet. They don't even need to have internet at home. If they have access to the internet, which they do if they're hearing this podcast episode, they have access to the YouTube channel. And even if you're hearing this and you yourself are not a singer, I'm sure that you know someone that maybe would love to learn how to sing or just get better as a performer or a vocalist. And I guarantee you, it may not be there now, but someday there's going to be a complete library serving as many people as possible. That's just a little talk I wanted to have with you guys today. Again, very rogue, no notes on this at all, but there it is. How we got started on K Music Studios, how we've now grown into a podcast, and where we are looking to go in the future. Again, I apologize for probably jumping all around on this episode. Still don't have a producer just yet, but maybe someday, far down the line. Guys, have a great week. Continue singing. Think of your intentions no matter what you're doing, even if it is just getting better at singing. What is your intention? Why are you doing it? What is it serving? Consider all that, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.